Hello, I'm John. Welcome to Shopkeep Arty. We've got a really interesting fireside chat now with Kasia Wiercinska over in Norway, and she's with me now. Hello, Kasia. How are you?
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. I'm really good, thank you. And I'm
Good.
really excited to talk about this new class that we have coming up.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really great. And I was just talking to you just before we went live, and there's a bit of snow outside in Norway at the
Yes,
moment.
yes, not even like a little bit, it's quite a lot. It's been snowing like all day
Oh,
today in Oslo. So I hope we're going to have better weather. But I think May in London should be a little bit more maybe sunny and not so snowy. I
should
hope
be,
so.
hopefully. I've got my fingers and my legs crossed. I've got everything
All right.
crossed, just
Yeah.
in case. So today, what we are going to do is it's going to be quite a fun little fireside chat. It's not going to be a lot of chatting, really. I'm probably going to be doing most of the chatting. I lived in London for probably about 15 years or so. And I used to have a little Piaggio scooter as well. So I used to whiz around. I got to know London really, really well. So I live north of London now, but it's only a short train journey away. But I thought I would try and pick three destinations for a plein air in London when Kasia comes over. And I wanted to, I've thrown in a landmark, but I also have got a couple of other alternatives that I think might be interesting as well. And your job as the viewer today is to watch each one. I'm going to try and give you a little bit of a short guided tour through each location. Again, fingers crossed that that works. I'm going to be doing that on Google Maps, but I'm going to kind of take you through, share with you some of the areas that I think might be of interest. We don't have to decide on specifically the exact point where we're going to be painting today, but what I'd like to do is decide on the location. And at the end of me giving you a little bit of a short guided tour in each one of these areas, we're going to put it to the vote, and you can choose one of three options, and whichever one you choose is what we will then go and paint in live in the open air at that date. And the date actually is May the 17th, and we'll probably meet up early afternoon, so it'll probably be around 12:30ish, something like that. Again, the specifics we'll firm up a little bit closer to the date. But today is all about the area that we're going to be meeting up in London. It'll be on Wednesday, the 17th of May. And if you would like, I'm not going to be live streaming it. I've live streamed plein airs in the past, and although it's fun and quite chaotic, which I have a certain side of my nature which kind of likes the chaos, the video quality can be quite hit and miss. So if you've got a really good internet connection, it can be great. But then with mobile cell phone reception, it just sometimes goes out and in. And so the reception on when you record it, when I come to edit it, I think, oh, it's quite grainy. So what I'd really like to do is create a really fabulous, good quality, high definition video recording of this plein air tutorial. And the only way I can do that is really by filming it properly without live streaming it on the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film it, I'm going to edit it, so the video should be a really great representation. And during the video as well, I want to do while I'm there, I'll do a little bit of a guided tour to just before we go into the plein air on the video, just to make you feel like you're there. We'll kind of take a walk to the area or something. I'll probably add that in, and then we'll film it. Now, if you want to join us, because I had one of our patrons, Karen, who joined us when we did a plein air with David R. Smith for the Tower Bridge, and she joined us there, and it was super fun. And she was saying, "Oh, I really would like to see it." So I wasn't going to enable people to come and join us, but seeing as Karen's been mentioning it a few times, I am going to give that option. So if you do want to join us on the day, you can do, and so there's an option for that as well, and we'll obviously send you the details, and you'll get the video after you've been there as well. It adds this whole other level of complexity, because obviously I've got to go and film around and things like that, but it should be fun. It should be loads of fun, and you'll get to meet Kasia and obviously myself as well, so it should be really fun. Karen said, "I'll definitely be there." There we go. So that should be really great. So where are the three locations that I have pinpointed for this? So what I'm going to do, so Cassia's joined me, but I'm going to be doing most of the talking. But what I'm going to ask Kasia for is her, because she doesn't know which areas I've necessarily picked yet. So she's going to add her thoughts as well. And if you've got any questions, write those on the Q&A as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions. So this is all, you can sit back, enjoy, and I'll try and take you through. I don't know whether you've ever used street maps before, but you have to click on the road and it kind of zooms you through. So I'm going to try and give you a virtual tour of these areas. It might look a little bit clunky, but anyway, bear with me. Right. So this is a place called Hampstead, and this is the sort of green version of the green option, because there's a lot of trees and there's a huge park or common called Hampstead Heath here. So as you can see, there's some really nice grand houses. The houses here are very expensive, and if I whiz down this road, there's some lovely old quintessential London type of terrace houses down here. So it could be that a street scene could be really nice here. And there's a lovely pub there that you can see. I've picked this road, Hampstead. They call it Hampstead Village, and it has that villagey feel, but it is just outside of London. And if we go into the heath here, you can see here that they have fresh water. If I can get down there. There we go. They have freshwater lakes, and they have the buildings on the other side of the lake. If I can zoom in there, you can kind of see, and they're a really nice view. So it could be because you've got the reflections of the water, you've got the buildings, you've got the foliage around. Could be an interesting scene that. We've also got, if we go up to Parliament Hill, so these are actually swimming lakes. You can actually look, a mixed bathing pond, and they have a men's and a women's bathing ponds. They're just fresh water, very cold. I've never had the bottle to go in them, but I hear they're very invigorating. And you can actually go up to this viewpoint, which is called Parliament Hill, and from here probably won't capture the scene very well, but you can really see the whole of London from. I'm try and zoom up there. I can't really zoom up that well, but you can see everything. You see the Shard and everything. It's not really got the best view there. It looks a bit foggy, but that's a really lovely view. And then you've got the heath behind. It is a really nice viewpoint. And then if we go over here, we've got something called Flask Walk somewhere around here. Let me just have a look. Where is that? Get the bearings. Oh, do you want to see where Ricky? Everyone knows Ricky Gervais. I know where Ricky Gervais lives. Let's show his house. Yeah. So if we go down here, actually go back here. This house here is where Ricky Gervais, the comedian, lives, in this house just there. There we go. So he lives there, and there's a lot of celebrities that live in Hampstead because of the heath, because it's close to London. You know, it's got some very nice shops. So if I go to the shopping thing, which you go along here to Hampstead High Street, and so we'll start going up the road here. So you've got all the nice shops and some quite fancy ones. If we go up there, this is a very famous creperie that's been there for years. It's run by some French people, and it's not open on this photo, but they open this flap, and there's usually a queue that stretches around for people wanting their French style crepes in London. But there you go. And if we go up the high street here, you've got some nice little alleyways actually excuse me, ignore that. You've got some nice little alleyways that you can kind of see here that go up with little shops and everything down there. And just it's a really nice feel to well, they call it a village, but it's obviously got lots of little side alleys and different architectural. You can see in this back street here different things. There's a lot of artists live in Hampstead as well, so I'm sure in Hampstead we'd be able to find a view that, whether it's of some buildings, a terrace style thing, or whether it's, if you go down here, for example, you've got this really interesting building on the corner that's sort of like a wedge of cheese. So there's lots of interesting architectural elements. You've obviously got the heath as well with the water elements. So I think we could probably find something quite interesting in, hopefully it's not too discombobulating me zooming down these roads, but you can get a feel for the area. Just some lovely old historic buildings with a bit of nature and very close to London. So that is Hampstead. That is option number one. Karen says, are we invited for tea afterwards at Ricky Gervais's house? I can ask. I'll message him on Twitter. I'll see what he says, but probably not. Okay, so that was option number one, Hampstead Heath. Right, let's go to number two now. Number two is a quintessentially London landmark, and I'm going to start from a fairly well-known bridge, first of all. So let's share that screen. And so we're on this Millennium Bridge, they call it, and that's the Tate Museum over there, Tate Modern. And this bridge is very famous because when they designed it, the architects hadn't calculated for crosswinds along the River Thames. So it started to wobble a lot, and it had this sort of vibration thing that when people were walking on it, it would just create this critical vibration. And so they had to close it for many months after they'd just opened it to put extra dampeners in so that it wouldn't wobble and throw people off. So that was a bit crazy. So this landmark for this for option number two is, of course, St. Paul's. So we will go up to St. Paul's now. And obviously there's some very grand looking buildings all around here. And there's obviously a lot of tourists and people as well. So there's lots of action everywhere. As a plein air object, I don't know whether it would be too big, potentially, just because of the size and scale. And so when you're stood at a corner, it could be, or maybe we go a bit further back if we wanted to do St. Paul's. But if you go work your way around St. Paul's, there is other little corners. Marianne said, is Tate Modern an option? It could be. It's quite angular and it's very vertical, horizontal, and it could be an option. What do you think? What do you think, Kasia? Do you think Tate Modern could be an option?
Yeah, I think it could be an option. However, from my experience, I know that better for painting are buildings that are very old and have a lot of like tiny details and stuff. And like architecture is a little bit more rich in some like ornaments because there's just a little bit more of things that we can paint. So probably this one will be better, but we can think about the other one too because I think every subject is good for painting.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
I've taken us to this little area because, here is quite nice. You've got some interesting features. You can see the dome. That this could be an interesting place to go. And obviously you've also got near here, you've got places like, zoom out a little bit. I find this fascinating that you can get a three-dimensional look and you can see all the rooftops and everything. So we've got Smithfield Market, which is a market that they open. It's not really a public market. It's a place where they bring all the meat and the fish and everything for distribution to all the supermarkets the following day. So there's always a hive of activity very early in the morning there. But it's an interesting architectural place. Let me just go, and you've obviously got Farringdon near there as well, and you've got lots of little, again, interesting. So this is quite angular. It might be a little bit too samey, this building, for a painting, but I think some of the offshoots, roads that go off the edge, like this one that goes down to Farringdon Tube, you know, some interesting buildings, some interesting views, again, little alleyways. So I think, you know, this is a little bit more central in London, less green, but some maybe grander buildings to have a look at. So it's always so much scaffolding and building works in London, just crazy. So that is the second option. So around the St. Paul's area, it might not be St. Paul's. Obviously, that would be the most logical thing to do. But once we decide on an area, then Kasia and I will come up with the best area to go. Right. So we've had. So what are your thoughts so far, Kasia? So we've had Hampstead Heath with that greenery and the lakes and the little buildings, the old buildings, and we've also had St. Paul's and around that area.
I think both are very interesting. So from the first one, I really like the Comedian House because, you know, there was a lot of greenery and I think the colors were really cool. So it could be really nice subject for like a typical British housing or something that, you know, I hear British housing, that's what I see in my mind. So it can be really cool. I think St. Paul's can be also really nice. And I was thinking about having this with, you know, a little bit of distance. So it's more like further away because for plein sketching, I think it's better to focus not on like a very detailed view, but more on like bigger size, bigger scale.
Yes.
So you can like share your like memories about the place, more like energy and atmosphere. So I think that would be nice to have it maybe a little bit from a distance, so we can see a little bit of the street, and then like this huge dome somewhere in the background. I think it could be really nice painting. It's probably one of like the classical architectural paintings compositions. So it can be also really interesting, and I think that will be like a postcard from London kind of style.
Yes, yeah. And Karen said, is the view from the Tate Modern across the bridge towards St. Paul's possible? And so I've pulled that up now. So if I view that, so this could be a view that we do. So this is further back, and you've got the bridge.
Yeah, that's also interesting. Yeah, with a little bit of water.
My only reservation about that is that when I was on, they call it the South Bank, this strip of, and that was the same strip where we did the plein air with David R. Smith, where I had my computer and mobile phone stolen. So I'm just a little bit nervous about, because there's a lot of people around waiting for people to be distracted so that they can nick your bags. So that's my only. I've just got that in the back of my mind. But yes, so we could do that. But I kind of feel that's why I was thinking maybe Hampstead Heath would be quite nice because it's a bit away from the hubbub of that. Let me show you now the third and final option that I've selected, and this is a place I'm sure you may have heard of, King's Cross, because that's where Harry Potter travelled to Hogwarts from platform, was it 11 3/4? I think so. But also St. Pancras as well station is there. But they've developed this whole area at the back called Coal Drops Yard, and it's a really nice. And actually, the London College of Art is there as well. So it's all very very fortuitous. So I will share my screen now and take you on that journey. So this is St. Pancras station outside. So this is where, if you were to travel, and actually this whole building inside is absolutely amazing, but I won't go inside there. And just behind me here is King's Cross, and inside there is a work of art in itself as well. But if we travel up in this direction, now there's a huge building project going on here, and this is actually going to be the headquarters of Google in Europe, and they're building this whole massive thing. But if we go up here, these are quite angular modern buildings, but if we get through there and cross over the road, right, so just here is the canal. You can see the canal barges just down there. So we've got a lovely canal running through and some nice old buildings. And just over here, you can see that there's sort of fake grass tiered seating that overlooks the canal. So it's a really lovely picnic spot for all the people. And this is the College of Art here, and you can kind of walk inside and everything. Let's just go back. Go across this bridge. So they've got a lovely plaza, and at certain times of day, all these have fountains doing various patterns and everything here. And this is called Coal Drops Yard, which is a kind of like a shopping destination, but quite an interesting old building. And I think I can go down there. There we go. We can have a walk around. They've got things like you just try and go out. It's got a really funky roof, as you can see there. And also what they've done is these used to be gas, I don't know what you call them, containers, but they've converted them all into housing. So people live in these converted flats, which I'll try and see if I can find a way of showing that. This is up on the... So you can see the roof there. It kind of touches, but you can walk underneath it. So it's suspended, and the roof touches with the glazing. It's quite a cool thing. And then you can walk around, and you've obviously got the canal on my left here. There we go. You can see the canal barges and everything there, and a lovely walkway. And then you've got these flats, which they've done at different heights to symbolize the gas thing, because the gas containers would rise and lower depending on how much gas there was inside it. So they've done it within those. That might be quite a complicated thing to paint, but I don't think necessarily, but it's just interesting as a tourist to have a look at those. And if we go that way. So all around here, I would imagine that these used to be kind of fairly old, almost stables or some sort of warehousing, and they've kind of filled them all with nice shops now. And so there's some interesting things around here, maybe not quite as characterful because it's a little bit more industrial. Maybe not quite as characterful as Hampstead or the grandioseness of around St. Paul's, but some really nice areas. Like in there's usually a market in there going on. So some quite nice things. But we have got the grandness of St. Pancras. So if we came over to here, and you have a look at the front of St. Pancras Station, that is a really grand building with some fantastic architecture. So quite a difficult choice between these three areas, because I think we could probably do all three, to be honest. But it's
we can do all three. Fine with me.
Let's have a look around here. Okay, so there's St. Pancras there. Flying over here. it's just quite a nice area to walk around. And obviously this with the sweeping roof is interesting, but I don't know whether as an art piece whether that would be your eye might not believe it, if you see what I mean. There's also this building as well down here. It's a little bit too angular, really. I think that maybe wouldn't be quite right. They haven't got, like Kasia was saying with St. Paul's, and in Hampstead as well, you've got that ornate, and the architecture's a little got more interesting. These are a little bit more boxy, which are nice when you're there because they've got the grandness of scale, but as a painting might look a little bit too uniform. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Kasia?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think for painting, it's better to choose some buildings that are a little bit older, because especially modern architecture, that the one you showed, it looks so cool, like in the photo and when you're there. But when you paint it, sometimes it looks very weird, and if people don't know the building, they are like, "Oh, what's that? I don't know." So I know modern architecture is super tricky for painting. So I think I will probably choose different subject just to, maybe the other one, like the modern architecture, can be like second time or something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super tricky. I have the same here in Oslo. So I only had one workshop with Oslo Opera House, because it's also like very modern building, like very, very, like very unique. And then if you don't know this building, then you don't know what you're looking at when you see the
Yeah.
painting. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's way easier, I think, it's to paint something older, which has like windows and doors and stuff, like the
They've got
normal
more
one, not just
character, haven't they? They've got more
yeah,
character.
yeah. It's just little stuff to fill the painting. That's really cool. I think that's a really cool way to approach architectural view, to create, like a first, like background first layer with like very simple shapes, and then finish with like tiny details and people tiny details of architecture, and you have a painting. So it can be like 50 minutes. So that's something I really like to do, and that's something what I wanted to show also to like everyone who will join the class. So maybe you can choose something older, so then I can share a little bit more of this like tricks to finish a painting in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's up to you. You might feel that Coldrop's Yard, having a little tour around that and going there might be
Mhm.
interesting. But I think Hampstead or around the St. Paul's area might be more interesting. So I think Hampstead's going to probably involve something a little bit more green. It's going to
Mhm.
include foliage, greenery, and buildings, but the more sort of London terrace type of higgledy-piggledy rooftops, chimneys, that sort of thing. Whereas St. Paul's is going to be a bit more grandiose, ornate,
Mhm. Yeah.
grand building
Yeah.
style.
I think
Maybe,
that,
yeah,
yeah, I think that probably St. Paul's will be more like urban view. So architecture, little details. So it's more about simplifying very complicated view. And I think the other one, like the residential area, it's more about like choosing nice details. So I can imagine us painting like the windows and door and people doing something. So it's more for me like a rural view, like a landscape, something like a countryside view. Yeah, and St. Paul's will be more like urban. Like only buildings and simplifying. I think, yeah. So I think St. Paul's is about simplifying, and residential is about choosing like nice scene and nice details. Yeah, so I think it's a little bit different approach to painting. So
yeah,
whatever everyone likes, we can do voting. I think I like both. I can show you some examples of my paintings.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think I like both because in general I really like architecture and yeah, working with buildings. So I can show you this one is probably more like example for St. Paul's. So you can see like a one building and like street life, people on the street and other stuff. I don't think we're going to have a tree. It's probably it's going to be more like that. And we're going to have a little bit of perspective because I was thinking about having St. Paul's here and then a little bit like of the buildings on the left and right side. So something like that. This is like the top view, like the city. It's Oslo as well, but from a distance, so very different. But this one is an example maybe of like a building in the greenery. So that's probably very similar to the buildings that you showed me.
Yes,
I mean, the style is a little bit different, but more or less something like that. Yeah, I think that's a good example for that.
Yeah.
This one is again urban view, like very different to St. Paul's, but I think the idea is very similar. This is Alicante in Spain, but idea is similar because you can see like a lot of details, very like busy urban view, but simplifying. So I painted this one just sitting on the pavement and just painting, and it was like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something sketching. So it's about like simplifying very, very complicated views. And what else? This one, I think the first subject, so housing in greenery.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I think this one is quite similar to St. Paul's. We can say it's like similar style building.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other ones, this one maybe it's a little bit night view, so a little bit different. I'm trying to find. Yeah, and this one is also, I think, an example of urban view. It's also from Spain. Yeah, so I think probably those two are the best examples for the two different subjects we have, even though this one is night view, but I think the idea is very, very similar.
Yeah.
Or this one. Yeah, so we can do voting, which one? So with this one, we're going to, like paint all the windows and stuff, and we're going to focus on greenery. And with those views, we're going to, if we paint windows, then we do it with just one brush stroke. So very, very simple. And it's more about creating like the atmosphere, overall atmosphere, and creating something I call like a fake detail. So you can see like a million details. But in fact, if you zoom in, this is like very, very simple brush stroke, like, very simple shapes. So I call it fake detail because I'm not actually painting details. I just make it look like I have a lot of details, but I don't. Yeah. So those two. Yeah, we can do voting. Or do you have any other thoughts, John?
No, I think let's now put it to the vote. So it's going to be over to you. So in a minute, as our patrons, you get to choose where Kasia and I are going to be meeting up to do this plein air. And if you'd like to join us, you get that option as well. So here we go. You will see now launching on your screen. Which one do you want? Do you want Hampstead Village, St. Paul's, or Coal Drops Yard? Place your votes now. Oh gosh, it's quite neck and neck. Coal Drops Yard has 0 score at the moment.
I think it's because of me, because I was talking
and maybe me as well. We were a bit negative, weren't we? Right. Okay. Well, it looks as though 60% goes to, drum roll, Hampstead Village.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So we're going to be going to Hampstead Village, and we are going, and it's, if you're joining us, it's on the Northern Line, and you can get up there quite easily. It's also on Thameslink, the Thameslink overland train as well, so you can get to Hampstead via that as well. Or there's some good car parking, which you won't get down at St. Paul's. So if you did want to drive there as well, there's a good car park in the Heath itself or on the various roads too. There we go. We've got the destination. Haven't quite worked out exactly what we're painting yet, but we will be in Hampstead Village. I'm sure Kasia will now go onto Google Maps and have a little look round Hampstead herself.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at the different views.
It's my first time in London, so I 100% trust you, John. Whatever you choose, we go there because I've never been there. So my very first time.
You should love Hampstead. Is the place? It's quite a an upmarket place. It's a lovely place to sort of go, and it's got that really nice combination of outdoor space, but the buzz of London there too. So yeah, no, it should be really lovely. And to be honest, you're going to have been there for a few days anyway, and you'll probably be more central London, I would imagine, in there.
Yeah, probably. I don't even know because I haven't booked my hotel yet.
Oh,
So I don't know, but
okay,
probably.
okay. Well, this will be a place that will be slightly different. It's quite a nice, it's quite a lovely place. So really looking forward to that. Thank you very much for voting, everybody. And we will be coming to you from Hampstead Heath sometime in May. So look forward to that. Thank you, Kasia. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. I can't wait, really. I can't wait to have this trip and to paint with you. That will be so cool. And I'm really happy that we're going to meet. That was Karen, right?
Yes,
who wanted to join us?
Karen for
Yeah,
sure. And maybe someone
that's
else
cool.
will join us as
Yeah,
well.
if you want to join, just feel free to join. So we can even like have a coffee after or something, or just, like paint something. I don't know. So that would be really cool to meet everyone. Yeah.
So if you would like to book the video or book your place at the plein air event, you can do so now. The event is live. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Kasia. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good afternoon, and I'll see you in London.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.